very light brown eyes, and he had a serene smile on his face, and he had beads which he moved two at a time. And there was something else, something about him that really freaked me out. I'd never seen anything like this before, and when I got back to London and told my first Muslim audience, they explained to me what it was. What really freaked me out about this guy was the light on his face. And it wasn't a light shining onto his face, it was a light coming from within, shining out. I now know that to be the nur, the natural light that emanates from particularly pious practicing Muslims. I've never seen anyone since with so much nur on their face as this man had. But as I say, I didn't know what it was, it just really freaked me out. So I stood aside and invited him in, and he was so elegant, he didn't walk, he just glided in and sat down, and I sat opposite, and Hamid acted as the translator. And he said, "What religion are you?" And I thought, oh, here we go. I said, "I'm a Christian." And he said, "Yes, but what sort of Christian?" He said, I said, "I'm a Protestant from the Church of England." And he said, "And what do you think about Islam?" Well, in truth, I knew very little about Islam, other than what I'd been told, and that you could have written on the back of a stamp, and as it turned out, it was all wrong anyway. But he said, "What do you think of Islam?" And I looked at him and I said, "Oh," I thought, "it's amazing, it's wonderful." And I then went off in praise of a faith that I knew nothing about. And he was moving his beads and he said, "Yes, Islam is a beautiful religion." "Oh, I couldn't agree with you more," I said, and again rolled off into this praise of this faith that I knew so little. And I ended by saying, "Do you know what? The people around here are so passionate about their faith, they pray 5 times a day. I know because I've counted them." And of course, I didn't realize that the 5 prayers were obligatory. He could have said, "You stupid woman," but he resisted the urge, smiled. And then he said, "So, you would like to convert?" And I thought, damn, he's trapped me. He's let me in, he's ambushed me. And I thought, if I say, "No, I'm not interested in converting," he'll say, "How dare you insult Islam? Take her away and have her stoned." And I thought, but if I say, "Yes, I'll convert," he'll say, "You insincere, fickle woman, take her away and have her stoned." So I'm sitting there agonizing, what am I going to do without offending this religious cleric? So I sat there for what seemed like ages, and then I said, "You know, thank you very much for your kind offer, but I can't make such a life-changing decision while I'm in prison. However, if you release me, when I get back to London, I'll read the Quran and I'll study Islam." And he didn't say anything to that. And he just smiled and he got up and he glided out, and Hamid went running after him. Hamid returned a few minutes later and he said, You're going home on a red crescent plane." Well, I punched the air and congratulated myself for having treated this Malana in such a way that I had got this get-out-of-jail card. Soon I was on a truck bound for Kabul. But there's something else I was to learn about the Afghan personality. They don't like delivering bad news. They'd rather tell you anything to keep you in a happy state than tell you something that is going to make you sad or angry or psychopathic. And after a 7-hour drive of me thinking, "Yeah, I'm on my way home," we drove straight past the airport and into the grimmest third world prison of your imagination. Whatever you can conjure up, this prison was just like. And I was taken down this dark corridor and this cell door was pushed open, and I said, "I'm not going in there." you can't do this to me. And they said, you are a bad woman. You have to be punished. You came to our country without a passport. You have to be punished. I screamed and shouted and said, you can't do this to me. I'm British. And they looked at me, yes. And then there's some smiles in the front row. And it was like, yes, of course. And just then, amid all the screaming and shouting and more abuse hurled in their direction, another cell door opened and 6 women wearing hijabs came out. And one of them said to me in an English voice, are you from the Red Cross? And I was amazed. I said, you speak English? She said, I'm Australian, these 2 are American, the other 3 are German. I went, oh, you're the missionaries, the charity workers that have been accused of trying to convert Muslims to Christianity. And they said, yes, that's us. And I explained who I was, and they said, look, come and stay in our cell tonight and we'll try and get this sorted out in the morning. And in truth, it was about the best offer that I'd had that day. I just thought I hadn't had female company for more than 6 days. These women also spoke my language. Furthermore, if I ever got out of this hellhole, then I would have an even better story to tell. And so I walked into this cell and I just looked, and there were bars on the windows and there were rickety bunk beds and a concrete floor, and I finally broke and I started to cry. And the tears just came rolling down, and I said, well, the Taliban have finally broken me. I'm deeper into Afghanistan. I'm never going to get out. And like any nicotine addict in a crisis, I went to reach for my cigarettes. Although cigarettes were banned under the Taliban, when they realized I smoked, they gave me a pack of 200 American cigarettes as well, it must be said. So I went for my cigarettes and I was about to light up, and I said, does anyone mind if I smoke? And they all said, yes, this is a no smoking cell. And I thought, how do I end up in the only no smoking cell in Asia? And what sort of Christians are these? They can see how upset I am. So one of them said, look, if you have to smoke, go outside into the courtyard. You can smoke out there, but we're about to have a meeting. And so I was about to walk away outside, and I said, a meeting? And they said, yes, we have 2 meetings a day. And I'm looking around thinking, what happens to discuss twice a day? You know, what goes on? And then I realized it has to be the escape committee. They're digging a tunnel. So I said, do you mind if I sit and listen to your meeting? No, not at all. So I found a little spot on the edge of this bunk bed, and they all sat on the concrete floor in a circle, and then they pulled out Bibles and started reading very loudly from a passage appropriate to their situation. And I'm thinking, I don't believe this. These women are in serious trouble. They've been charged under Sharia law with trying to convert Muslims to Christianity. They're facing God knows what. And they're reading from the Bible. Any minute now, the Taliban are going to come crashing in through that door. We'll all get whipped and beaten up, and I'll get roped in as well. It'll be collective responsibility. And my heart was in my mouth, just waiting for the door to come crashing open. Of course, what I was to find out later was that it states in the Quran that Muslims must protect people of the book, i.e. Jews and Christians, and they must be allowed a safe environment in which to carry out their faith. And this is exactly what the Taliban were doing. The Taliban were allowing them to practice their faith. I didn't realize that at the time. So after 20 minutes of very, very loud Bible reading, they then pulled out handwritten pieces of paper and they started singing. Now, I used to sing in the choir at church, and